When Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios released the original Forza Horizon back in 2012, it changed the landscape of racing games for the foreseeable future. 9 years later, Forza Horizon 5 is doubling down on its inclusion mentality by being available on all Microsoft platforms. This review takes a look specifically at the Windows PC version of the title, which is the quintessential version if your hardware can handle it. If you've ever wanted to take a $2 million car and drive it off a cliff or into a river, this is the type of gameplay the series offers, and it's extremely fun. Forza Horizon 5 takes its open world design over to Mexico, as the previous game took place in the United Kingdom. Mexico is much more appeasing to the eyes and an excellent choice for a location. Playground Games managed to capture a summarized version of the country extremely well. Scenery includes coastlines and beaches, along with deserts, the Baja region, wooded mountain areas, and even the jungle. All these areas are devastatingly beautiful, including the little towns that are set in between areas and the buried ruins spread throughout the area. There is no doubt that on the latest generation of consoles and on PC that Forza Horizon 5 is a technical marvel. The console versions offer a visual and performance mode option for 4K resolution at either 30 or 60 frames per second on the Series X. The PC version, however, depending on the hardware you have, can enable higher frame rates but not necessarily stable without assistance. Using an RTX 3080 at 4K resolution with ultra settings will get 55 to 70 frames per second. Meanwhile, on the lower end, using a 3060 Ti, that would hit around the same marks at 1080p. Playground Studios has enabled its own version of DLSS to allow some performance or quality options. Dynamic resolution is also included to help maintain a more stable experience, as those frame rates were with no visual assistance such as these. Ray tracing is touted as being included, but there seems to be some confusion on how this works. Simply looking at the screen space reflections on the car models would have you assuming that during gameplay, ray tracing was apparent somewhere. This is implemented so beautifully that the cars in Forza Horizon 5 are the best looking cars of any racing game to date. However, ray tracing only exists in Forza Vista, which is the option for viewing up close details of these cars and doing parts upgrades. The car models in Forza Horizon 5 are drop dead gorgeous, but coupling that with the detail and draw distance of the environments will leave you drooling. The exterior car view is what hogs the performance in the game. If you switch to the cockpit view, which every cockpit remains exquisitely detailed, you will gain anywhere from 15 to 20 frames per second. That's a rather large jump and shows just how demanding the car models are. Adding even more to the beautiful visuals in Forza Horizon 5 is the dynamic weather system. The way that water beads on the car during rain or going through a puddle looks extremely realistic. Cloud patterns change, which also affects lighting, and can have you doing double takes at times because you become unsure if you're still playing a game or not. Not to mention that day to night transitions offer a completely different look at different areas of the map. Places will light up with neon lights and give a whole other perspective that is worth revisiting multiple times. Playground Games also included a photo mode to capture these moments, but it was actually pretty difficult to use. Playground Games has always managed to provide an overwhelming amount of things to do in the Horizon games. The team has changed things up as the flow of the game feels a bit more streamlined and easy to process, and has included some new aspects to make the game feel fresh outside of just changing the overall gameplay design remains the same as it resembles fetch missions with cars. The biggest change to how progression is achieved is almost a breakdown of chapters. Expeditions will lead you to hidden locations that involve completing small tasks to unlock barn finds, which are cars that have been left for dead. These take place in abandoned ruins or other locations. Completing these spreads the festival throughout the country and creates festivals in other cities. All this opens up more and more to do, and it's a nice change of pace, but ultimately holds back from the core racing of the game. What speaks the most to everyone about Forza Horizon 5 will be the cars. There are over 500 at launch, and the two headliners for this game are the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands and the Mercedes-AMG 1. While these aren't necessarily a car you will ever see in real life, the game offers a ton of the latest cars you won't see in other games, and will more likely see in real life. Want to test drive the latest Corvette, Aston Martin, or a slew of the latest Ferraris? This is certainly a way to experience that. While Forza Horizon 5 takes place in Mexico, Playground Games has put a focus on showcasing Mexican culture. The overall focus throughout the entire game seems to be with cars and family. The dialogue is very predictable and cliche and will remind you constantly of this while playing the game. With this being the 5th game in the series, it would be nice to see Playground Games move away from the festival tropes and not into something else as its basis of a plot. The music features real artists varying from alternative rock to EDM, which are groups that you would hear at a festival. It helps capture that festival feel, but if you're not a fan of this, the different exhaust notes remain excellent from each car. The multiplayer focus has been improved with Forza Horizon 5 as new modes have been implemented to play. What's 2021 without a Battle Royale mode? The new arcade mode that will have you playing games such as smashing piñatas in an ancient ruin. The event creator toolset will allow you to create routes, tracks, game modes, and custom cars for the ultimate multiplayer experience. Unfortunately, at this time, no one was on the servers to actually test these things with. In summary, Forza Horizon 5 is undoubtedly a visual showcase and technical benchmark for PC and Xbox Series X owners. If you have the hardware to run this game on PC, this is the choice to make. The game is also on Game Pass, so you can test out the settings to see if your PC can handle it. Forza Horizon 5 does an amazing job of showcasing the true beauty of Mexico. The racing remains fun, with more multiplayer options and new expeditions and other fresh events. Expeditions do tend to take away from the racing experience, but deserves kudos for trying something new. The overall formula also remains the same, for better or worse, but you're always going to have something to do in Forza Horizon 5. This is the best version of the game thus far. For the full written review, head over to hardcoregamer.com.